Hi, my name is Bobby Wren. I'm a software engineer with Xfinity Home, and I'm also an avid bike rider and bike mechanic in the loosest sense. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of what I've learned about software engineering through trying to fix my bike. So basically, bikes and software are pretty similar. They're both complicated systems that require a lot of thought, a lot of development, a lot of fixing, right? So you have bugs in software. You also have bugs in bikes. Sometimes the brake cable doesn't work. Sometimes the tire's flat. So as an engineer, I am someone who uses software and uses bikes, but I'm also able to fix my own code and fix my own bikes. So in the time that I've spent in the bike shop, I've learned that bike mechanics are natural software engineers because they automatically do the next three principles that I'll talk about. First, unit testing. When you go into a bike shop and you're fixing things, you're naturally doing unit testing, right? So to the software engineers in the room, this is what fixing a bike is going to look like. First, let's write a test called test wheels move. That test only passes if the tire has air and rotation speed is greater than 0. So sure, it brakes at first, we do something, and then it passes, move on. Let's test that the seat fits, right? So test seat fit will only pass if seat is non-nil and also that your feet touch the ground. So that's pretty easy to understand. Here's an integration test called test brakes work. So to test it, we first call the function squeeze brakes and test that speed has become 0, but also collided with car is false, okay? And in the real world, you want to make sure that this test passes before you deploy to production, obviously. Okay, secondly, when I'm in the bike shop, I am very thankful for the concept of reusable components. So I'm trying to replace a gear, I'm trying to find a new nut that fits into the center spoke. I can just dig through this old box of parts and find the ones that have more or less the same fit. I mean, they have to fit pretty well, but they work in the same way, and I just pop it right in. As a software engineer, I find myself not doing reusable components sometimes. Like, it's easier to just write a piece of code that does exactly what I want to do and then deal with it later, right? But really, I would say instead of doing that, go out and find a framework that's already been done, because that way, you're essentially not reinventing the wheel. Reusable components. And then the last thing, when you're in the bike shop, you really get to understand the 80-20 principle. You're going to spend 20% of your time fixing 80% of the problems. But if you want that last 20% of your bike to work really well, you're going to spend 80% of the time, right? So one example is I've got my wheel, right? The unit test pass. It spins, it has air. Great. That's 80% of what I need it to be. I can take it and write out right away. But if I want the wheel to be perfectly not warped and spins perfectly, I'm going to spend another 4 hours twisting each spoke. Here you're testing how the alignment of the edge works, right? I've spent 4 or 5 hours just doing that, and the wheel feels exactly the same. So sometimes you have to make that choice. Do I want to spend this time? Do I just ride home? Okay, so last thing. Spend a lot of time talking about how they're similar. Here are some wish lists. So when you're in the bike shop, wouldn't it be nice if there were breakpoints, right? You're riding along or you're fixing your bike and something breaks, something fails, but I have a breakpoint, so it stops right before I fall forward over my handlebars. And then I can say, okay, why did that happen? Let me fix it and I won't hurt myself. Wouldn't it be nice to have git stash? So I'm trying to fix my brake cable and I accidentally snip it. Oh shit, I have to get a new brake cable. No, let me stash it and I'm back to the moment before it broke. So git stash in the bike shop. As a software engineer, I've got some code, it's not working. All I have to do is spray on some rust remover, come back in an hour, and it's efficient and it's shiny and it works really well, passes tests. So rust removal would be great. And then finally, a system like Craigslist, which, in hindsight, it kind of exists, but there's a platform where I can buy and sell old projects that I no longer want to work on, or maybe someone else wants to take from me. So that would be great to have. So that's it. Thank you very much, and tune in next week for Cooking with Version Control.